This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Whenever anyone has bad news to report, like massive recalls, they like to announce it on a late Friday afternoon. That way it misses a lot of media coverage, and most people already have their minds on the weekend anyway. That's exactly what Volkswagen did last Friday evening when it announced that its CEO Herbert Diess was fired by a unanimous vote by the Board of Supervisors. But this didn't just happen overnight. Labor representatives on the board have been angry with Diess for years, starting when he set the company's strategy to go all electric and warned that 30,000 workers could lose their jobs. The rest of the board was reluctant to get rid of him, but 2 years ago it stripped him of its duties of running the Volkswagen brand. Then the board started to lose confidence in him when there were problems launching the ID3 and ID4 and when sales of those EVs failed to reach their targets. It looks like the final straw was when Cariad, which Diess called VW's moonshot effort to develop a software-defined car, ran into problems and delays. That's when he was informed his services were no longer needed. Instead, the board nominated Oliver Blume, the head of Porsche, to take over as CEO of the Volkswagen Group. Blume is considered a consensus builder, and he's not as gung-ho on going all electric as Diess was. In fact, Blume has called for the development of low-carbon synthetic fuels for internal combustion engines instead of going all electric. And all this calls into question VW's massive bet on EVs. Under Diess, the company committed to spending 89 billion euros on EVs by 2026. For now, it will likely stick to that commitment. But after that, who knows? Oliver Blume is going to want to put his own stamp on the company, and that suggests he'll come up with a different strategy that isn't so reliant on EVs. Meanwhile, what will become of Herbert Diess? Some are speculating that Elon Musk will hire him to run Tesla. We don't think that's likely to happen. Even though Herbert and Elon have a lot of respect for each other, Musk may be reluctant to hire him for the same reasons the VW board just fired him.
There are a few key reasons to start a business in Michigan. First of all, it's the talent. Second, Michigan is wired for winning. Third, the ecosystem here is really focused on supporting businesses in the market.
You may have noticed the fully revealed Cadillac Celestiq show car in Friday's show last week. We didn't talk about it then because those pictures came out after we had already recorded the show. So let's do it now. The Celestiq's body shape has a nice flow to it with a long hood and slowly tapering roofline thanks to its hatchback rear end. Distinctive lighting, especially at the rear, breaks up the flow of the body lines and acts as an anchor point for your eyes. Designers say they were inspired by classic architecture and the artisanship and customization of past Cadillacs. As for the interior, it's said to use the finest genuine materials and features 5 digital displays, the largest a 55-inch screen that stretches from one A-pillar to the other. More of the Celestiq's technical specs will come later this year. Renault is incorporating a new material into the electric version of the Megane that reduces noise inside the cabin. Traditionally, its ICE vehicles use several elements under the carpet, including a heavy resin material, as soundproofing. But now it's using a new shock-absorbing foam that's sandwiched between the battery pack and the floor, rather than under the carpet, and it absorbs vibrations, which improves vehicle sound insulation by 10 decibels. It also allowed engineers to reduce the thickness of the floor, and that reduced weight by 3 kilograms or over 6.5 pounds. And in terms of overall weight and range, every gram counts in an EV. Here's an interesting stat. Formula E race cars regen around a third of the energy they need to complete a race. In order to maximize this effort, the team creates highly detailed models of every racetrack to know the ideal place to lift off the accelerator, while the software that Jaguar created for this use is now being applied to its passenger vehicles. Jaguar's plug-in hybrid vehicles now come with predictive energy optimization. When a destination is entered into the navigation, this so-called driving coach takes into consideration the GPS data, the type of roads, average speed of those roads, and even their gradient to tell the driver when it's best to lift off the accelerator. The system also prioritizes electric use in urban areas and the gas engine for motorways and highways because that's where they're most efficient.
We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
At Schaeffler, we pioneer motion. Electrifying mobility. Manufacturing smarter. Reducing CO2 emissions. Making energy production clean. Schaeffler pioneers motion to advance how the world moves.
Suppliers are struggling right now because automakers are building so many fewer vehicles and because their costs are skyrocketing. So to help shoulder some of the pain, Toyota won't ask its suppliers for lower prices in the second half of the year. The automaker is also considering helping out with their energy costs as well. And it's because of things like this that Toyota gets the highest ratings from suppliers year after year as their favorite car company to work with. And speaking of suppliers, we posted a video from John explaining why Congress should be helping out suppliers instead of car dealers. And he's so mad, you might even see fire coming out of his ears. Flying cars keep getting closer to reality. Chinese automaker Xpeng began trial production of its Voyager X2 VTOL, and its passenger drone business raised $500 million in its latest fundraising round with investors. Xpeng is making good progress with its VTOLs last month and demonstrated a 0 to 100 km/h test of that same X2 vehicle. Are you thinking of getting an EV but still have a lot of questions? Then General Motors has a program for you. It's going to make EV experts available to answer your questions. Yes, with real live people, not with bots or chat rooms. GM is setting up a website, evlive.gm.com, where anyone in the United States over 18 years old can talk to SMEs or subject matter experts on a wide range of topics, including range, batteries, home chargers, public chargers, the grid, costs, you name it, they're going to talk about it. The experts are available to anyone, not just GM customers, and it's also open to fleet operators, GM employees, and dealers. The SMEs can also provide info on all of GM's electric vehicles, including its BrightDrop delivery vans. But that's a wrap for today. Thanks for joining us.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. Schaeffler, we pioneer motion. And by the Michigan Economic Development Corporation.